For me, oh my God, you got a master in math, then it's great. We need math teachers in Canada. Welcome to Canada.
We're trying to get somewhere, but the system just keeps you locked out.
Locked out by employers who want Canadian degrees and Canadian experience, by regulated professions that make it almost impossible to requalify. Joshua Raj, an orthopedic surgeon, has performed more than 1,000 operations in Malaysia and the United Kingdom. Canada needs orthopedic surgeons, but the foreign doctor was told he would have to go back to medical school for a year, then wait in line and do another 4-year residency, if he could even find one.
When I make an incision in a patient in England or Ireland or Wales, under the skin they look exactly the same as a Canadian patient. The bones are the same, the arteries are the same, the nerves are the same. I don't see why I cannot work here.
This is not the way it was supposed to be. These immigrants came believing they were wanted and needed, a message the country actively promotes. Just last fall, the government announced it was going to increase quotas for skilled workers.
Canada needs more immigrants, plain and simple, and we need them to succeed.
Canada's economic growth depends on immigration, but the modern-day immigrant is vastly different from the immigrant of the past. For decades, Canada's immigration policy was built around family reunification and accepting refugees. We threw open our doors to the poor and desperate, regardless of their skills or education. But in countries like China and India, the majority of immigrants today are economic immigrants, from the middle classes, not the huddled masses. Already successful in their homelands, they chose Canada, not expecting to start at the top, but never believing they would have to start over at the bottom.
This is not always the best advice.
Jackie Buckridge runs job search workshops for new immigrants at the India Rainbow Centre in Brampton, Ontario. A classroom full of immigrants who arrived as skilled workers and now are struggling to find work.
When a lot of these professionals arrive here, if they can't find a job in their profession, do they go on welfare?
No, they take any job that they can find. It doesn't matter. Some of them have 2, 3 jobs.
Doing what?
Anything. They'll go to an agency and take a job in a factory. They'll work at Tim Hortons. They'll work midnights. They'll work weekends. They'll work 12-hour shifts, whatever they need to do to make ends meet.
The purpose of our immigration system is not to create a highly educated labor class in this country, but that may be the result. Just look around and you'll find foreign-trained doctors, architects, engineers, and teachers who are driving taxi cabs, delivering pizza, and washing floors. A growing group of professionals who are going backward, not forward in their careers, feeling bitter and betrayed that the talent they brought here is going to waste. That's certainly how this couple in Edmonton feels. Prem and Nessa Premakumaran are suing the federal government, accusing Canada of wooing professionals like themselves under false pretenses.
If they are looking for slaves to do the job, menial job, they should advertise, Canada is looking for slaves to do the menial job.
Prem and Nessa were educated in the United Kingdom and worked for 20 years in London, England, in accounting and office administration before emigrating to Canada.
During the interviewer told us, with the kind of education background we have, and with all the skills that we have, you should not be having any problem getting back in your field straight away.
You're saying that Canada sold you a bill of goods?
Yes. Yes.
Canada put out the welcome mat.
Yes.
And then yanked it from under them. Since coming to Canada, it's been a constant struggle for Prem and Nessa to support their young family. Despite their global experience and a booming Alberta economy, no one would hire them.
They say, I'm so sorry, you are overqualified, or you have to have a Canadian experience.
How many jobs have you applied for?
I have applied more than 4,500 applications.
4,500 applications?
Yes, I'm still applying.
And how many interviews have you had?
To my knowledge, it's about 5 or 6.
The Career Center told us to go on social welfare. I didn't come to Canada to go on social welfare. I had the skills, I had the experience. Why should I go on social welfare was my question as well. One thing people fail to realize that Canada took us here is mainly for our education, skill, and experience. We didn't come here as refugees. That is where the very big mistake is.
The Prema-Kumarans have been forced to take whatever jobs they could get to survive, cleaning hotel rooms and offices.
I still cannot forget the day when he rang me. He said he got a job. I asked him, what are you doing? I'm snow shoveling in front of Canada Place. How would a wife take it when they turn around and your husband, who's new to Canada, who was once a lecturer and the head of accounting and finance, snow shovel in front of Canada Place? I was broken. And then I told myself, I'm not going to break down, because if I do break down, then the whole family is going to fall apart.
When we return,
It's like inviting someone for dinner to your home and you ask them to wash the dishes.
how does the minister in charge defend Canada's immigration system?
This is really a slap in the face to our reputation as a country that welcomes immigrants.
When CTV's W5 continues. In just a moment, online warnings to the world about what really happens in Canada.
Have you ever heard of notcanada.com?
We'll be right back.
It's said that some of the most mobile workers in the world come to Canada only to find themselves immobilized, unappreciated, and underemployed.
It's like inviting someone for dinner to your home and you basically feed them crumbs, or worse still, you ask them to wash the dishes.
Michael Cole is Ontario's Minister of Citizenship and Immigration. He blames a federal visa system that is out of touch with the reality of the job market.
Ontario receives the majority of the professional immigrants that come to Canada, and yet when they get here they can't find jobs in their profession. What's wrong?
Well, the immigration system in Canada is broken. There's no relationship between the so-called point system, or how you get to enter Canada, and your ability to practice your profession or reach your potential. They just don't coincide.
The Ontario minister complains the federal point system gives priority to people with academic credentials, regardless of whether there is work for them.
The problem is that we in Ontario may need welders, we need construction workers, we need truck drivers. So the point system doesn't do you any good if you're a truck driver who wants to come to Canada from Romania. Yet if you're a PhD from Bucharest, you'll probably get in, but you may not get work. But if you're a truck driver, you get to work immediately here in Ontario.
Well, then the point system is not working.
That's an understatement.
In countries like China, our reputation as a nation that welcomes immigrants is at stake. There are millions of highly educated, highly skilled workers here, and they are being wooed by many countries, including the United Kingdom, New Zealand, Australia, and Germany. Larry Wang, a Chinese-Canadian lawyer who runs one of China's biggest immigration consultancies in Beijing, worries that in the global competition to attract the best and the brightest, Canada is falling behind.
In comparison with 5 years or 10 years ago, and I think in terms of numbers and the people who are interested in going to Canada is going down for sure.
So what's happening? Well, one reason might be that people are starting to find out Canada is no longer the land of milk and honey, at least for professionals.
There are some people, Chinese, after they immigrated to Canada, they couldn't find a good job, and then they complain, they tell their friends, and news spread,